Am I gay or bisexual? The Untold Struggle. Part 1. My name is Chuka Okafor, 27 years old, born and bred in Lagos. If you ask anyone who knows me, they'll tell you I'm the quiet type, the kind of guy who minds his business, goes to work, comes home, eats, scrolls through his phone till midnight, and sleeps. My life was normal, peaceful even, until curiosity came knocking on my door like an uninvited visitor. It started on a Friday night, one of those boring Lagos nights when NEPA had mercy and gave us light. I had just finished coding a project for my company, ordered shawarma, and logged into Netflix to relax. Normally, I'd watch action or comedy. But that night, my finger stopped on a thumbnail that showed two men sitting together on a couch, laughing. The title said, "Love Without Labels." I hesitated. Gay movie? I had heard people talk about them, especially on Twitter. Some said it was representation, others said it was sinful. I wasn't looking for trouble, but something about it made me curious. Maybe because I'd never actually watched one. I thought, what's the big deal? It's just a movie. So, I clicked play. At first, I was uncomfortable. The first few minutes were all about friendship, two guys who grew up together and fell in love. But as the movie went on, I started noticing something else, not the romance, but the emotions. The characters were so expressive, so free, so soft in a way that I rarely saw in Nigerian men. They hugged, they talked about feelings, they smiled without pretending to be hard guys. Something in me shifted that night. I wasn't attracted to the men, not really, but I was drawn to the peace they seemed to have. They looked happy. The kind of happiness that I had been chasing for years without realizing it. When the movie ended, I just sat there, quiet, staring at the screen. "Chuka, you're thinking too much," I muttered to myself. Still, I couldn't shake it off. For the next few days, I kept replaying scenes in my head, the laughter, the connection, the calmness. I started wondering, are gay people always this happy? Why do they seem so free? By Monday morning, I went back to work at the tech firm in Lekki. But something inside me had changed. I was distracted. My mind was full of questions I couldn't answer. During lunch, my colleague Afani was joking about women again, how girls in Lagos only want money, how love doesn't exist anymore. Everyone laughed. But I didn't. I thought about that movie again, how those men didn't care about money or status, just love. It made me feel something strange. Not attraction, but longing. That night, after work, I went back to Netflix. I searched gay movies. Before I realized it, I had watched 2 more. Then 3. Then 4. It became a routine. Every night, I'd tell myself, just one more, but I'd end up watching for hours. The stories were different, but the pattern was the same: handsome men, deep emotions, rich apartments, expensive wine, and smiles that could melt your heart. The more I watched, the more I started comparing. I'd look at my small one-room apartment in Yaba, my laptop, my boring life, and feel like something was missing. I began to associate that missing feeling with what I saw on screen. A few weeks later, I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw a gay influencer from Nigeria who had moved to the UK. He was rich, stylish, confident. His page screamed luxury, vacations in Spain, designer clothes, flawless skin. I caught myself thinking, wow, these guys are living the life. Then, without meaning to, I asked myself a question that sent shivers down my spine. Am I gay? I remember staring at my phone for minutes. Me, Chuka, from a conservative family in Anambra? My mother, who leads prayer in church, would collapse if she ever heard that question come out of my mouth. But it wasn't like I felt attracted to men. It was just confusion. I tried to shake it off. I'm just overthinking. I'm not gay. I just like movies, that's all. But the human mind is a funny place. Once you open a door, it doesn't close easily. At work, I began to notice how I looked at people differently. If a guy was too friendly, I'd start wondering if he was gay. If he complimented my shirt, I'd think, is he flirting? I was living in my own psychological prison. One Sunday, after church, my mother called me. "Mum, Chuka, you're not getting any younger. Oh. When will you bring a wife?" "Me, Mummy, I beg. I'm not ready yet." "Mum, you've been saying that for 3 years now. What are you waiting for? You want me to die before I see grandchildren?" I laughed awkwardly, but deep down, I was scared. Not scared of marriage, but scared of myself. I didn't even know who I was anymore. That night, I prayed. I told God to help me. But even while praying, my mind kept drifting, those movie scenes, those peaceful faces, that feeling of freedom. Was I missing something in my own life? Or was I being deceived by what I watched? I started changing unconsciously. I paid more attention to my dressing, began following more LGBTQ influencers online. I told myself it was just curiosity, but deep down, I was slowly being influenced. One day, my best friend Uche noticed. "Uche, guy, you don day change oh. See your jeans tight like this, abi you don join fashion parade?" Me, laughing, "I beg leave me jair. I'm just trying new things." "Uche, no wala. Just make sure you know go turn rainbow oh." He was joking, but I felt something twist inside me. Was it guilt? Or shame? I didn't know. That night, I searched Google, "How do you know if you're gay?" The answers were confusing. Some articles said sexuality is fluid, others said you're born with it. Some said try to experiment, others said pray it away. I closed my phone and sat in darkness. Who am I really? The truth is, I was lonely. After my last relationship ended, I stopped dating. My ex said I was emotionally unavailable. Maybe she was right. Maybe that's why those movies hit me hard, they showed men being open and vulnerable, something I never learned to be. One evening, while scrolling on Twitter, I saw a post. Sometimes you're not attracted to someone's gender. You're attracted to their kindness. That line sank deep. I realized I wasn't craving men, I was craving connection. I wanted to be seen, to be loved, to be enough for someone. But by then, the confusion had taken root. I started waking up with anxiety. My mind was full of questions, my heart heavy. I couldn't tell anyone, not even Uche. Nigeria isn't kind to people who even mention the word gay. Every Sunday in church, the pastor would preach against the spirit of homosexuality. The congregation would shout amen, while I sat quietly, praying not to be seen. At night, I'd stare at my reflection and whisper, "Who are you, Chuka?" Sometimes I'd cry. Other times I'd laugh at myself. It was like being two people in one body. One night, I found myself on a gay dating app. Not because I wanted to meet anyone, but because I wanted answers. I wanted to know if there were other Nigerians like me, confused, searching, lost. A guy named Toby texted me. "Hey, you're cute. Are you new here?" I panicked and deleted the app immediately. My heart was pounding. I threw my phone across the room. God, what am I doing? That was the night I realized how deep I had fallen into my own confusion. The next morning, I called in sick. And stayed home. I couldn't focus. I lay in bed, scrolling through all the movies and posts that had brought me here. It hit me, the illusion. Those men on screen were actors. The influencers were showing highlights, not reality. I had built a fantasy in my head and started doubting my identity because of it. Still, part of me felt empty. Like something had been taken away. That night, I stood in front of my mirror and stared at myself for a long time. "You're not gay, Chuka," I whispered. "You're just lost. You're lonely. You're tired." I realized I had confused emotional hunger with sexual identity. What I needed wasn't a new label, it was healing. The mirror reflected a man who was searching for peace, not orientation. And for the first time in weeks, I slept, not because I had found all the answers, but because I had finally started asking the right questions. Watch out for part 2. Kindly like and subscribe.